You're listening to the Play It Brave podcast. Join Darcy for a wild rummage around in her wit and wisdom. She's a photographer, an educator, and a marketing ninja. Each week, she's going to be teaching you all about creating a life full of mindset, money, and marketing miracles. Listen to real-world experiences and surefire strategies from expert guests, all to keep you focused on your path to success. Think less hand-holding or fist bumps. So stop playing safe. It's time to start playing it brave. Here's your host, Darcy Benencosa.
On today's episode of the Play It Brave podcast, I'm going solo to talk to you about the haunting of Darcy Benencosa's house. Yes, I moved into a haunted house in April of 2018. So I've been in this house for a little over 2 years, and it's cleaned up really well. I still have some energies here, but the day I got the keys to this house and walked into that front door all alone, the house was empty. I hadn't seen it empty. I had only been in it twice before to see it with all the furniture and everything else. And as soon as those keys were mine, as soon as I signed the deed to own this home and I walked in the front door, I had such an overwhelming feeling of doom and some darkness that I thought there's no way I can live in this house. And I didn't move in for about 2 weeks. And those 2 weeks, I really regretted my decision to buy this home. It's a beautiful home. If you follow any of the restoration on Instagram, it's a beautiful old home, but there was some crazy shit happening the day I got the keys. And that has led me on a journey to up the vibration of my house, which in turn ups the vibration of my own life. I don't think enough of us realize how much where we live affects who we are becoming, our mood, our energy. You know, if you're in an apartment building and the neighbors above you and below you are, dark or lazy or drug addicts, or, they just have bad energy happening, that can seep into your walls and can start to affect you. So you have to learn how to really protect your home. And I would say outside of our own bodies, raising our vibration in our own bodies, raising the vibration of our home is the second most important thing that we can do. Now, this episode, I thought I'm just going to do it in fun because people are going to think I'm crazy if I'm really talking about ghosts and how I've gotten rid of them. And I also thought I'm going to do this episode in the daylight because I don't like talking about the ghosts that I've gotten rid of, because sometimes talking about them and the experience can bring them back. But every time I went to record this, nothing was working out. So it is now almost 10 o'clock at night, and I am going to talk about this, but I'm going to do a special clearing episode, not with you. I'm going to do a special clearing after I record this episode, and I've already done some protection work before. So first of all, let's dive into the deep things let's dive into the sensational things. Let's dive into what I've actually seen and actually heard. Pull up your blankets, children. Tidy in for an October ghost story. So let me talk about my history with ghosts. First, I grew up religious, so I always thought there was dark and light, right? Satan, God. And then I went through kind of a period of agnosticism where I really didn't believe in anything, but I couldn't deny energy, right? I would go into places and I'm very sensitive and I'm very intuitive, and I would feel good or bad. I would meet people and I would immediately either like them or be wary of them. And I'm realizing this is an internal, as we call it, GPS, the GPS guidance system of our own intuition that most of us talk ourselves out of because we think we're mean if we don't like somebody right away or something like that. So I really listen to my intuition. I really trust it. I go off of my gut feeling quite a bit. That's what this episode is all about. And same with the one next week is, what are these gut feelings we have and why do we end up ignoring them, and what happens when we ignore them? So I've always been pretty in tune that way. And as life develops, you do fun things like see psychics or I get energy work done. I do think that we have so much more energetically going on with us than most people realize, but I think slowly it's starting to become more mainstream. We're starting to become more awakened. It's starting to get more scientific backing. They're starting to become machines that can measure, the brain scans of your brain when you're thinking about certain things or visualizing, So I know it's very powerful what we call into our lives. So around 2007, I started to read some books on energy work and started practicing it. And I was hanging around with people who were having conversations with spirit guides, and they were getting messages from dead ancestors, and they were communicating with future children, and just a lot of things that I thought, whoa, that's cool. And I also don't know if I believe that. And some of these people were really close to me. And so I asked one of them, okay, tell me how you're communicating with these guides, or what are you getting out of it? Why are you doing it? I didn't really see the point or purpose, but she kind of talked me through it. And she's like, well, one of the things you have to do is you have to invite it in. You have to decide if you want to be an energetic person, if you want to tap into your psychic abilities. It's not that there are some people who are psychic and some people who aren't. There are just some people who have turned it on, and most of us have it turned off because we think it's weird. We judge it. We think it's out of this world. We don't understand it. And by that, we're maybe missing out a lot of this journey of Earth. So she told me that. So I went home, and I was living in a different house at this time. I went home and I said out loud during the daytime, okay, if there are any guides or spirits who want to communicate with me, I'm going to invite you into my home, and I'm going to be open to what you have to say. And I kind of laughed at myself, like, you guys have to know that I'm very aware of how all of this sounds. Okay. I am a very logical person. I'm a very intelligent person. I've gotten very far in life on my intelligence and research abilities and science-based marketing algorithm facts. But I've gotten farther, and I've had way more fun in my life through my intuition, especially when I'm coaching people. I'm so tapped into them. It's almost like I'm doing energetic readings combined with good business strategy, which is why people have such great results. And I have been developing this side of myself for 13 years. I just haven't really talked openly about it very much because I thought people will think I'm crazy. Now at this point, it's like the people who think I'm crazy are actually not quite for me in terms of working together. And the people who want to develop more of their intuition and energy and ability to heal their bodies and visualize success and all of these things that are coming into this 5D world, 5-dimensional world. We're all going through a big transition. They tend to be more for me. So I'm less afraid to talk about it, if that makes sense. So anyway, I told the spirits or whatever that they could come into my house. And that was like 2:00 in the afternoon. Around 10 o'clock, I was going to bed, and I was just falling asleep, and I just felt a presence. Now you need to know it was not a scary presence. It was actually a very divine. And I've only seen 2 actual beings with my physical eyes, like I could actually see them. The rest have all been like spiritual senses and auditory things. I've heard a lot of things. So I opened my eyes, and there was this beautiful woman. She was in this cloak. She almost looked like she was from Puritan times. Now I know that she was, because I ended up connecting with her last year. But this was 2007. So it was a long time before I actually allowed myself to connect with her. She appeared at the bottom of my bed, beautiful cloak, red hair. And I just stared at her, and I was freaked the fuck out. I was like, is this real? What am I seeing? And she took down her hood and showed me her beautiful angelic face. And she smiled. And as she did that, I said, I'm not not ready. Go away, get out of my house. This is not okay. I don't want to do this. And she put the hood back on, smiled, and disappeared. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to mess with this. I am not prepared to deal with this. I don't know what she was going to tell me. I don't know, but I'm having enough time just getting my regular day-to-day life working in 2007. I'm not going to entertain this. I don't know what happened. Fast forward to the second time I saw a real physical ghost. This was not an angelic one. My sister and I were in Maine, upstate Maine, Portland, Maine to be exact. And she was visiting me when I was going to college there. So this must have been actually just a little bit before. This was probably 2004, 2005. And we were behind and we didn't get to see this lighthouse. And we thought, let's see it at night. Maybe the light's going around and we'll see the moon, shining on these beautiful waves. I don't know why we decided to do weird things at night. And we GPSed our way there and pulled in. And as we were pulling in, I will never forget, we looked up at the lighthouse and there was this, I can still see it. It is burned upon my brain, the face of this man, and it was evil and scary. And he was looking out the window, but he was translucent. You could see through him. The light of the lighthouse was coming through him. I screamed and she screamed at the same time. And I was like, I'm getting out of here. I see something. She's like, is it a man? And I'm like, yes. And we hightailed it out of there. And I had her, we described it to each other and we have both seen the exact same thing. And she and I are not like ghost hunter people. I do not even watch anything that says supernatural in the title because I'm just too sensitive and too scared. So we like peed our pants that night. So those are the ghosts that I've seen. Okay. I think it's really interesting to know what other people say about your home when you walk in. I always notice what people say about my house. And I owned this other house, the little cottage. I called it Wisteria Cottage. It was very cute and tiny and sweet. And every time people would come in, oh, this place just feels so good. Oh, I love this place. It was just, one friend described it as a daisy on a cupcake inside a gold locket on a princess. Like it was just the cutest, sweetest little house. Besides the Puritan woman at the end of my bed, nothing ever bothered me. I never felt scared. I never had a hard time sleeping in that house. I always felt protected. I never worried, even though I didn't really have an alarm system, nothing like that, right? Never had any of that. Lived in that house 10 years, loved it, on and off for 10 years. As I traveled the world, it was always there for me. And I loved that house. So I just thought that's how houses were. And it was because of me. And I'm super sweet. And my house is just going to be charming and quaint. And I'm a good host and all of that good stuff. And fast forward to April 2018. And I walk into this house, and by this time, my intuitive skills are very highly developed. I trust them completely. I do energy work on people. I've been able to diagnose diseases before they are found. I've been able to sense struggles and past trauma. I've been able to tell people where energy gets stuck in their body. I just did energy readings for this group about 2 weeks ago, and without me knowing a lot of things beforehand, was able to, tell them a lot of things that were true about themselves. So I'm really confident in that part of my life. I walk in and I just feel dark and I feel terrified and I feel that there are things that are off. And so immediately I call my girlfriend, Emily, and I'm like, Em, I just bought a haunted house. And she's like, okay, that's good. All right, we can work with this. Now it has haunted on several levels. The first level was 3 different ghosts, 4 in 3 different areas of the house. One was a little girl, probably 8 or 9, in the upstairs bathroom, right? Particularly where the bathtub is. And I would just hear her crying. I would just hear very scared, sad, little muffled cries coming from that. I didn't use my bathtub for like the first year that I lived here. And what I found out when I was looking at the home, because then I started digging into this house, that the place where the bathtub is, because it doesn't really belong in the bathroom. It's like a really weird, like nobody would have actually designed the house. It's like a separate room where just this bathtub is and nothing else. And I learned that they knocked down a wall and closed up another one to make a closet, but it actually used to be this tiny little bedroom with this little hallway that is now a closet leading to it. And the past owner said he didn't even know that it could have been made into a closet. It was a walled up hallway. And when they knocked through the wall, like they saw old clothes hanging in it, like 100-year-old clothes. And they knew it led to this tiny little bedroom where I believe this little girl, whatever, I don't know what happened, but maybe this was a room where she was punished. Like, who knows? I think my neighborhood is really dark. It has, like, everybody thinks it's the light, beautiful neighborhood, but I think some dark stuff has gone into my neighborhood, which is actually why I wanted to buy a house here, because no women, hardly any women in the past have, and still to this day, very few women own a home in this neighborhood. It's either couples with joint, but most of it, I would assume, especially because the houses have been passed down, because it's a very desirable neighborhood from generation to generation, that it has stayed in like the male name of that family. And I do think a lot of dark things went on in this neighborhood. Patriarchy. I've gotten the sense that there have been some really secret underground cults here. I think that there has been a ring of abuse to children and women. So I get that sense, which is one of the reasons why I'm in the neighborhood, to kind of like own it. And you can reclaim land. You can reclaim areas. If you're a light worker, you can come in and you can shift an energy. So I knew moving into this house, although it felt very dark, I knew that I would get the skills and that my very own being would raise this. So little girl crying in the bathroom, another child in the basement under the stairs, which did not go away until we started doing the kitchen remodel. And we had to do some weird stuff to get him out. He'd been there for a while. And then on the main level, just in the room right over there, if you're watching me on video, hi, and it's just right over there, were these two little boys, one a very sweet little boy and his older brother who was very abusive and had abused him. So I called my friend Emily and she called her friend Rachel, both of whom are very good at talking to spirits and getting spirits out. And I was outside of the house. I didn't really come in until at least the main floor kids were gone. The little girl with the bathtub took a little bit longer. She took another round. Actually, no, she went kind of at the same time, but I had to clear that area a lot. So yeah, so we got them out, and I don't know if I need to go into detail, but it was a lot of work, and we had to talk to them, and we had to do some heavy visualization, and we had to provide them somewhere to go. I didn't provide them, but sometimes spirits, everything is just energy. So it's an energetic imprint of a person who has died that has not quite left. Like their attachment to this place or to planet Earth or whatever is so intense, or they don't know where to go. And when I got the sense of these little kids, one, I got the sense that they all wanted me to be their mom energy, and they were latching on to me. And that was really, really hard. And I was not equipped to deal with that very well. And two, I had a sense they just didn't know where to go. And they were just kind of trapped between places. They didn't have any adult. They just kind of got lost. They were like lost little ghost children. So Archangel Michael is actually a really powerful energy to bring in. Again, I don't know how much of this is real. I don't know if Archangel Michael's a real thing, but this is how it worked for me. And I don't know if these ghost children are real, but man, I heard and got a sense of them. Like I couldn't see them like bright physically like I did with the other two ghosts, but I could see them. If you know what I mean, it's like this imprinting where your brain just sees it, even though it may not like see it in 3D. So we called in Archangel Michael, and it was actually really beautiful. And we put a lot of love into the house, and I had to bring a lot of love energy into the house. You have to start when you move into a place, you need to reprint what's happening there. They talk about it all the time in energy work and in Reiki, especially. Like if you're watching me on video, I'm drawing a heart on the palm of my hand, and you make this heart, and then you like place it against the wall of your home. And you let, like, the heart symbol is love. It's a heart. And if you place it on the wall and then you speak love into, you will actually change the vibration. You can raise the vibration. Just like if you guys have never heard of that water study where they will take different glasses of water. One they'll speak love to, one they'll speak hate to, or write hate words, shame, guilt, hate on the bottle, love, joy, gratitude. Freeze the water, put it under a telescope. The love, joy, gratitude water has these beautiful snowflake crystals, and the water that had hate and, negativity written on it will have these jagged, disjointed, no pattern to it. It's a real thing, you guys. So go watch that. So we got rid of the children ghost. And, except for the basement, we got rid of one, but there was a lot stuck down in the basement. And then the next thing that happened, so did that first, and I was able to move in some of my furniture and I started sleeping here, but it just felt uneasy. I would hear doors slamming. Sinks would fill up with water with no explained reason. I would hear muffled voices. I would hear swishes of air without anything being open. I would hear creaks. I would hear it was very scary. I would hear what sounded like somebody running up my staircase, to the point where I like my bedroom door didn't have a lock, where I was like, I'm getting a lock. I'm putting a dresser in front of this door while I sleep, because it would just sound like somebody running up to my room. It was really, really weird. So I brought in another psychic. She is a shaman who had studied she's older. She's like in her 60s. And she came in and did a lot of bits of work. And the house now has very smooth walls, but if you ever saw it at the very beginning, it had this plaster that was really wrinkled and textured, like deep textured plaster. And I didn't like it. I like smooth walls, but to smooth it out was like $4,000 or something crazy. And I was like, oh, I'll just live with it, And she was like, there is so much dark energy stuck in this plaster. You need to get this taken out. And I was like, well, I'm getting the floors redone. I don't really have a chance to do that. And she's like, well, I'm just telling you, you need to make this physical change in the house, because there is so much stuck and there's so much attached to this. And and she's like, and you have a trickster in your house. And I was like, what do you mean a trickster? She's like, sometimes there are just energies that just want to tease you and bug you. And she's like, he's the one filling up the sink. He's the one slamming the doors. He's the one running up the staircase. He thinks it's really fun to scare you. And the more scared you get, the more he's enjoying scaring you. And I was like, well, that's not okay. I'm not going to let this ghost win. So together, she and I did some incantations, and I started to learn one of the first lessons about living in a haunted house is do not resist the ghosts. Okay. This is going to sound super weird, but it's a metaphor for life, you guys. Whatever you're resisting in your life persists, right? Whatever we resist persists. The more fear I was giving to the ghosts, the more they were thriving on that fear, especially the trickster ones. Now, the only evil presence I've really felt was that one mean brother to his other brother. The other kids were just scared. And then the trickster was just really enjoying making me uncomfortable and making me scared. And then I didn't have another dark one until I started remodeling the kitchen, which I will tell you about later. But lesson number one, with any dark energy, and it doesn't need to just be ghost or spirits or, these energetic imprints or this feeling, whatever we resist persists. So certain energies in this world feed off of love and certain energies feed off of fear. And I've seen it again and again. And the more you fear something, the worse it becomes. And so I had to really work on, ironically, for my podcast called Playing It Brave, I had to work on not giving into the fear and to see myself in my physical body as stronger than any ghost. So that was the first thing I started really stepping into, was not being afraid of what was happening in my house. And, I would get in there, I would get it, and then something else would happen. But so with this plaster, what happened, I decided not to do it. And what happened, there are two things I decided not to do in the house because they were expensive. And what happened is truly, okay, let's talk about house energies. Do you guys name your homes? Do you know the spirits that live in there? Your house, it's like Dobie, the house elf or whatever. Your house can have an energy. My house, Wisteria Cottage, had this beautiful, bright energy. It felt like a very feminine spirit. It felt like she and I were a team. And Evelyn, which is the name of this house, which I could go into how I named my house, but it's a bit of a long story. She told me her name and I can go into that. Actually, no, I don't need to go into that right now. We'll just end with she told me her name and you can be like, Darcy is crazy. It's okay. I'm owning it. I'm not afraid of your judgment of what I'm saying because it is the way my life unfolds. And guess what? It's way more interesting than just sitting at home every night watching TV and not believing in anything. It's way more interesting than that. So I'll take it. So my house, I think I don't know how to explain it, but it's like she was on it. So the two things I decided not to do was smooth out the plaster. And when I was getting my floors redone, there were subfloors underneath and I wanted them removed because they felt dark. They felt like they had a lot of weird energy in them, just these heavy floors. These floors were over 100 years old. I know you want to preserve everything. These ones couldn't be preserved. And the flooring needed to be replaced. And every contractor will not listen to you. And they definitely don't want to listen to any energetic feelings that you have. Trust me on that. It's hard enough to get them to listen to your specifics on just what way you want the wood to face. So it's like, I told them, I was like, I think I want the subfloors removed. No, we just build on top of it. I'm like, okay, but I really think I want them removed. And why? We just build on top of it. It's way easier to build on top of it. If you take it out, it'll cost you a couple, more money. Why would you do that? And I didn't know at the time how to say, because my gut tells me that the energy is dark and that I need to get it out of this house and I need to purge the house from whatever crap has gone down in the neighborhood, which has affected the house and whatever has gone down in this house in the past 100 years. But I couldn't say that. So this was the beginning of my remodeling journey and I felt silly or stupid for trying to speak up or trying to explain this. And I talked myself out of it and said, Darcy, you're taking this a little too far. This energy work, just let him build. You're stronger than this. Like the house is going to be fine. You're kind of making this up maybe, So those were the two things I decided not to do. Well, for those of you who followed the story of my remodel, you will know that 10 days after I put the floor in, it started popping up. This was very expensive flooring. It was not, and I hired the most expensive flooring people in Salt Lake. It was not a cheap floor. And it was, well over $10,000 for these floors. And they started delaminating and we could not make sense of it at all. And they came back and they're like, this has never happened. Like the wood all started popping up. And there was no sense for it, but my gut was like, girl, it's because you did not take out those subfloors and the house is rejecting it and telling you need to cleanse the house further, get it down to the bones. And I was like, no, that cannot be it. That sounds so crazy. But what the conclusion was, we had to tear out all the floors. And I had already waited 3 months to get on the list. It took 2 weeks to install everything. And within 10 days of trying to move into the house, because I had all my furniture in my garage and I was living just in my upstairs bedroom, all the floors had to go. And we had to wait like 2 or 3 months to get approval from the insurance company to tear the floors out, that they would honor their warranty, and then replace the floors. And when they tore them out, they were so attached to the subfloor that all the subfloors had to come out. So we took it down to the bare bones. And as they were doing that, the plaster started to fall off the walls, the plaster that I did not fix. So the floors did not cost me any more money. They took them out. They were an amazing company, Signature Floors, Salt Lake City. Hello. Please, I hope you're not listening to this, because contractors do not want to hear about, oh yeah, that's why our product failed, was because your house was rejecting the subfloors. Okay, Darcy. And the plaster started to fall off. And my contractor was like, this is actually really good timing if it's going to do that, because they're taking out the floors, which means we can bring scaffolding in, which is what we would need, because I have a very vaulted ceiling in my living room. He's like, we couldn't do it while floors were in here, because they would have created, dents in the floor, because scaffolding is so heavy. He goes, but if you can wait for the floor another week or two, I'll bring in the scaffolding. We'll take off all this, we'll get rid of this plaster and smooth it out. And I was like, you know what? I'm not resisting this anymore. So the plaster went, and the first floors I put in were dark wood 8-inch floors. And I actually didn't end up liking them. And so I was able to even change my floor choice to real wood, which I would go over laminate anytime, just because my experience with laminate. But this is not a podcast about what I would choose to decorate my house, though I should do one about that. Okay, what else? There's also a vortex in my house in the front window. There's this very big arched window that looks very biblical, and a lot of energy comes out because I live where 2 streets conjoin. And so I've put, I have trees in the front of my yard, which trees are so amazing to help get spirits out. Okay. The second thing that I have learned with having a haunted house is that you have to get in tune with your gifts. And if you are an empath, if you get bothered or you feel other people's feelings or you take on energy that is not your own, my guess is you are very close to being so psychic, you just don't know it. So I would tell you, these experiences with your house are teaching you this experience of raising the vibration, listening. What ghosts have taught me is, 1, I'm stronger than them. So not give in to the fear, which has really been helpful for me. And 2, to be more in tune with my gifts and trust what I'm hearing. What else has happened in my house? Oh gosh. Every time I remodel something, it's like all the spirits get upset and get angry. With the kitchen remodel, there has been yelling, fighting, screaming in my kitchen. It's gone now because we did some clearing, but I had to clear again for that. My bed there was a month long during, I think, June, where my bed it shook every night. Like every night it just shook. I don't know what that still was, you guys. Yeah. So, okay. So those are some of the hauntings of Evelyn Manor. And I will say the third thing that I've learned is that you are able to tap into levels of spiritual power and energetic power, to levels that you don't even know. And if you're curious about that, you get to start looking at that. I became very curious about it, and it's just helped me not be afraid. I mean, I travel the world. So I lived in a house at a castle in Ireland, and that's when I was like, I didn't really know about hauntings or whatever, but I felt eyes on me. If you feel like you're being watched in your house, if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling like you're having a hard time falling asleep, if you're feeling like you're hearing random noises, if you're feeling like something's keeping you from feeling at ease, this could be a sign that there is some energetic activity that you get to clear. So words are a big way to clear. I'm going to talk about cleansing my house because there's actually the step-by-step things that I do that now help me feel very safe in my home, feel stronger than any kind of dark energy that can come in, taps into my light, my ability to be light and good and full of good emotions, my ability to protect the outside of my home, my ability to call blessings onto my home, to smudge my home, to elevate the feeling of my home so that now when people walk into my home, I want them to say, this is magical. This place makes me feel so safe. This is some place where I want to hang out a lot. If people come in and I had a massage therapist once come in and she was like, is your house haunted? I'm like, yep, but they won't bug us tonight while I'm getting my massage. Don't worry. And she was like, okay. And my cavalier attitude kind of calmed her down, but I could tell she was a sensitive person because when you say things like, is my house haunted? The answer is yes, because that question would not come up intuitively in your body if there wasn't that. And haunting might be not the quite word. It just might be, are there energies in my house that maybe I can clear out? Are there energies that I can help go, release into whatever we release into after we die? Yeah. Okay. Rambling a story of how Darcy lives in a haunted house, but don't resist the ghosts. Let them be, but be the boss. Decide if they can stay or not. I actually have one in my house now. He's pretty cool and he just doesn't want to go. And he's like, I'll be good. And it's not his time to go. So he kind of just hangs out. The one in the basement, my brother-in-law and my sister came over, both my sisters, and we did a very big cleansing process. We had to speak a lot of words. There was a lot of dark energy, and we had to remove this door that was placed under the stairs. My brother-in-law, who would have never done this, hey, Spencer, he would have never done this 10 years ago. He would have been like, you're insane. But he's been developing his energetic intuition as well. And he was so funny. He brought Fitz, my dog, down because Fitz will never go into the basement. And he had Fitz and he looked at where Fitz hid from. And he was like, okay, this is kind of where the dark is. And we all felt it. And he just broke that door down with his feet and took it out. And as soon as that door was out and that space, we put a candle in and kind of did some other things that I'll talk about on a different episode. The whole house lightened up. And what was funny is that massage therapist came back the next week and she was like, oh, you got rid of the ghosts. And I'm like, yeah, we did. She's like, oh, it feels so much better. And she, it's like we all feel these things. We're just afraid to talk about them. I think we all go into places where we feel good or we feel bad. I think we all have intuitive hits of like something feels like it might be hanging around my house or there might be an energy. My niece had a dark energy in her room and all of us women went and put a blessing on the home and opened the windows to shoo out any darkness and brought in some crystals and some light and gave her a blessing and gave the room a blessing. Like there's a power in blessing things. You bless your food. And my parents always taught me growing up that like it really makes it better for you because you're infusing it with love and gratitude. And those are real energies. So I think this idea of blessing, I always think of like the Irish blessings. I learned about blessings a lot when I lived in Ireland, and it made me more vocal, not just a prayer, not just like, dear Heavenly Father, bless this food, whatever. It's like invoking all the light to enter, inviting it in. There is power in our words. So on this October Halloween, just know if you have some ghosts in your house, let me know. If you need any guidance getting rid of them, I'm happy to point you in the directions and in the education that I've learned in making my home really, really powerful. Now I sleep like a baby. My house is feeling so strong. Every time I remodel and infuse love, I write words all over the wood. You may have seen me do that in my home remodel. I infuse heart and love and light in every room. I light candles. I bring in all the elements. It's a beautiful way to raise the vibration of your home, whether it's haunted or not, bringing that intention, invoking those blessings, bringing out words of safety and security, and feeling that way in your body and in your home are beautiful, beautiful things. So thank you for joining and hearing the Haunted House podcast, unlike any you've ever heard. Is Darcy crazy? Let me know. I'm curious to know your reactions. I'd really like to know, is it all in my head? Or was there any element of truth of what my own experience was? I am so curious what your experience is with your life, and how you handle your own home, how you bless it, how you secure it, how you feel safe in it, because that's really what it's all about. Our homes, our bodies, and taking ownership over that and not giving in to any fear around it, and elevating it and learning how to be more of a light worker.
You've been listening to the Play It Brave podcast. Love what you heard? Wonderful. You can shout about it in the reviews. I bet you know someone who needs a shot of self-belief. Then don't keep us a secret. If you've missed something crucial, we've got show notes for this and all past episodes over at darcybenencosa.com/Play It Brave. Thanks for tuning in, but don't forget, the world teaches you to play it safe. Stand up, stand out, and start playing it brave.